It's quite heavy, 2 machines to lift it out, so certainly a nice person that, you know, there's someone on site from time on, but certainly make sure that, you know, the fire department, which does trench rescue, and they actually issue them a permit. We've had issues before of they're not properly putting a trench box in, and it's too deep, and the fire inspectors order them out, so.
Do they have an engineer on site for most of the construction, or is this
Yeah.
just one of these, I'll be out several times during the day as in my rounds or something?
Steve Wandlin from Water and Sewer is there every day, all day.
Okay.
Yep, on the town side. You have Chris McClure, who's going to be doing some of that, he's out there all the time. And Time Bond as an engineer, they are on site.
Okay.
And you also
As
have,
well as Ludlow has a foreman supervisor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Not a trench guy, but
and his number, and he can't be working, that's
That's
part of
right.
it. He's gonna be overseeing his work. And all that, and all the contact numbers are on there, and I'm gonna give them to the board, so if there's any question, you're gonna know what's, the timeline and what's going on. I just have to scan it in and send it to
Do
you.
the folks up there have some of these in case they say, you know, oh geez,
They're gonna have everything that you have, because John's gonna put it on cleanwells.org,
good, good, good.
correct?
So if they have an issue, they
Because he asked me, he goes, how about an update? And I said, here.
can. Here's an update.
Yeah.
Here's 100 phone numbers.
If you can email me that, then I can do it in color, because this only did black and white.
Oh, okay, I will. I'll scan it in color, and I'll send it to everybody, and everyone can have it, so.
So anything else up on your section? Yes, Mark?
Yeah, I'd like to know, what are the plans that Casella has at the landfill? Seems though they're blocking down roads, and we're gonna be forced, to go through the landfill. At one time, that is a public road, and that was a town road. It's now a four-wheel drive only mud swamp.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Just
I
drove
went
there.
through there with my truck today, and when I first went through, there were huge deep holes where I was rocking all over to get through it. When I came back, it had gone through with the truck that sprays it down so dust isn't over, and now I'm going through 2 feet of slop.
Slop.
My
again.
truck looks like I went full wheeling, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
And this
I
is
mean,
gonna be
I got a
ongoing?
nice expensive truck. Besides that, I mean, you shouldn't have to. What about people with bikes that now have to go through there? How are they gonna get through there?
Mark, you lodging a formal complaint to this board?
Yeah, I think that Casella
Pass that
should
on
be,
to Heather.
I'll pass it on to Heather, and that is brought up to Heather in the meeting about the
Yep.
condition of that road,
Yep.
and she said she would take care of it.
That's right.
We actually went into Southbridge back in 1998 when we first moved in and went to the town council and said, buses are coming through here with
You're right.
kids. The bus drivers were afraid to drive through. They had to go down, turn around and come back. They wouldn't go through for a while. And so they've heard it 20 years ago from us, but now it's time to kind of follow up on that again. I went through with my car when a tree had fallen. I think John came through around the same time, and a couple other neighbors that I ran into. There was a tree that fell at Blessings, and so we had to go that way. I had an appointment I had to get to. And I came back and I said to Mark, if I end up with a flat tire from going through there, I was doing this, trying to get around all the potholes, and
Plus
it was
cars
just,
blocked
it was
off.
ridiculous.
If you have a low profile and you have a
Yeah.
truck, imagine a low profile
Oh, yeah.
car,
I
you would be
died.
stuck in a hole.
Yeah.
It is, I just went through there, it is, she's absolutely correct, it is.
I think they
Bad.
personally, I mean, all they're gonna do is fill it in with dirt like they've always done, and they constantly wash out in the trucks. You like to have a little pride in your vehicle, and if I go through the car wash, even if they fill in the holes and they run through and they wet the road so that the dust doesn't fly, you go through it, I get back, the truck is filthy because you go through mud.
And
They
it's 20
should
bucks
have
a
to
whack to
top.
wash the truck.
Yeah, but what good is it when, to
Right.
get to your house, it looks worse than when it did when you left? They should have to tar
The
that.
board has directed
It
me,
was
I will
tough.
call tomorrow and say, Heather, do something.
And how long is this?
She said she would.
How long are you gonna have to be detoured?
Well, it's gonna be,
All summer.
All summer.
All
As
summer.
long as they're
Depending on
digging.
when they come down, right, so right now
So
we're.
until they refinish the road.
So at some point, we're gonna have to go that way. That's gonna be, you know, when they start
Long
going
term.
further down.
It's
East.
long
This is not a week or two,
Oh,
this is,
They're
Months.
blocking at the end of our road, away from the landfill, is blocked off from there, so you can't get down to 169, you gotta go around.
yeah,
the next step is gonna be either up our road or further up, meaning you can't go that way. So now you have to, we're forced to go through there. I think they should have to tar it. Safe for everybody, people with bikes, people with low profile cars. There's no reason why we should have to look like we've gone mud bogging every time we go home and go down the road.
Agreed. Okay, we'll have Jim look at that and then report back at the next meeting.
It's been
If you don't
addressed.
have
It has been.
Oh, yeah.
Sid should take care of it.
to- How long ago was this that you were on it, Mark, on the road?
Today.
Today, I took pictures.
Okay.
Not to mention the trucks that come down, once again, we almost never go through there, just because when you do, you end up with flat tires or whatever. But when you're forced to go, it seems like every time I go, the trucks come down off the hill, they don't stop. I had to stop, the guy swung, pulled straight out swinging the truck, all of a sudden he saw me and the look on his face is like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, if I would've kept going, you would've T-boned me. Because they don't even stop, they just go ripping right through there.
They do.
They do it all the time.
Coming off the fill?
Coming off the hill, and I've had them come from the flat to go up the hill. The guy coming across, actually one time, the guy locked him up and skidded, because I wasn't stopping.
Maybe we could request additional signage for the on-site guys. Nothing crazy, just heavier traffic during construction phases or something.
Not to mention that during the day, I have customers picking up and dropping off all day long. So it's not just the residents that are gonna be affected, but my customers coming in and out, and my workers. My worker with a minivan had to go through there today, he's like, you know,
Or an ambulance, or a fire truck, or
or
police.
or anybody. It's a
Yeah.
safety hazard with them
Yeah.
going through. We've brought that up before. They said, oh, we got signs, everyone stops. No, they don't.
Hmm.
I mean, you look at my truck today, I took pictures of it and stuff after I got through it, and it just, like I said, it looks like I was out four-wheeling in mud box.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll get some action on that soon. Anything else from your neck of the woods up there? Nothing else, John? Gentleman in the back? I'm sorry, we don't.
I got a well issue, but that's
Okay.
nothing to do with this.
All right.
Kind of, this-
It is?
I would say, come on up.
Okay,
I would think it's, this issue is
Sure, yeah, come on up.
certainly related.
Come on up.
so, Kenny Joy, 135 Berry Corner Road.
Have a seat.
I don't want to sit down.
No, okay, that's fine.
I have geothermal in my house, and they want to,
Mr. Joyford,
yeah,
could you please come up, because we're recording this, and I just need you, because she needs to hear. Is it okay? Thank you.
so I have geothermal in my house, and they want to close my well, my drinking water well, which is about 300 feet deep. What I want to do is turn that well into another geo well, and I already have two of them on my property. I want to turn that one, rather than having to dig another one, I just want to turn that into a geo well and do my basement and my garage. I asked the town of Southbridge if I could do that, and they said if you gave them a letter that said it was okay, then they wouldn't have a problem with it.
And this would be when the water line comes through.
After the water line comes through and I'm connected to the water, then I would turn that well into a geo well.
And this is closed loop, you said?
Closed loop.
Closed loop.
Yep.
Yeah, what's a geo well?
We use geothermal to heat the house with. Use the ground temperature.
Okay.
Which
It's,
is pretty constant at 50-something
yeah,
degrees.
so you get free AC during the summer and minimal heat in the winter. So you.
Yeah, right.
Sure,
Yeah.
you gotta go
Costs
down a
about
little
70
ways.
grand.
Yeah.
It's expensive,
It is.
40 to 70.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're in Southbridge?
Chop.
Oh, you're in Charlotte.
Mhm.
Why did you ask Southbridge?
Because it's part of the Berry Corner Road loop.
Right,
Okay.
now, when the,
When you agree to get tied in,
right,
The ACO states that anyone who agrees to it cannot keep their well.
cannot keep
Correct,
their
they're
well,
gonna-
but that is.
they're gonna put concrete down your well and,
Yeah, because they assume that you're gonna use it for some sort of
cement.
habitable,
Always thinking that.
personal consumption. In
Correct.
fact, they'll have the line to the house disconnected. that was hooking up to your
Yeah,
drinking
well, what
water.
happens now is they're gonna bring 2 more lines. Where I have one coming in now, there'll be 2 more lines coming in from that well, because it's a closed loop, so it goes down and comes back up.
Yeah.
And from there, it'll go into a main pole to another unit.
Right. Yes,
Mr. George, who told you that they would let you do it if the board said it was okay?
Steve Gregoire, which is the town,
Well, he doesn't work for he works for a private company, but
Yes.
Heather's his boss, Heather
right,
Blakely.
and he told me that she said that that would be fine if we got a letter from you.
Chair discussion?
yes, yeah.
So at this point, we've always, up until this point, any of the wells up there have not been mandatory to decommission them. We've allowed some people not to tie in, and it's a voluntary program to tie in up there. And we've also, we haven't mandated anybody decommission the well up there, so in this case, if he would like to keep his well, I don't feel the board would want to mandate that he decommissions the well. If the other agreements, be it the state or Casella or Southbridge or whatever, they have a different agreement as far as if they tie in, then you have to decommission the well. But this board has never been, has never forced anybody on North Side Road or any of them to decommission a well. So I don't have a problem with him using his well for geothermal, irrigation, whatever he would like. I don't have a problem with that.
Especially geothermal, where you're using the same water over and over. You're not pulling in potential contaminants which could
Correct.
migrate out. Again, I think this would have to probably go through somebody at DEP to just say, you know, or town of Southbridge, or whoever's the actual
Heather,
authority.
I think Heather Blakely has the authority to.
Okay.
And
we could
Steve Gregoire, if you spoke to Steve, Steve's the head of the water department there. He's very, and if he said that we're gonna be, but that's up to them because the ACO, along with the DEP, say that no one who tied in will be able to keep the well. This is not keeping the well. This is for heating purposes. This is
Right.
geothermal.
Right.
This is being smart. I mean, it's expensive to use, but you're able to heat your home with it. You're not using it for drinking purposes.
No.
Correct.
You're not
There's
drawing
actually
off-
none of the water will be coming out of the
So
ground.
I agree with Matt. We've never really made anyone decommission, but
All we've done is, we've had them inspected to make sure that there weren't cross-contamination.
right, back into the system. But I can certainly speak to Heather if the board wishes and on his behalf. And if she needs a letter, I'll have the chairman send a letter to the chairman. He can sign it.
I'm in agreement with that, Kathleen.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think that's good. Thank you for coming to the board.
Is there any kind of way I would know about that when that happened? or-
Jim will either contact you, or for some reason
I could
a
tell you.
reasonable time doesn't go by, you don't hear from him, just call the office.
Do you have each other's contact
I'll
info?
give you my card.
All right. Thank you.
Jim, what do you think, just so he has an idea? What's
I'll
the-
call her tomorrow. I'm not gonna put it off. And
Okay.
It's up to Heather. She's pretty, but I would want something in writing from Heather.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
So,
On the record.
later he doesn't have an issue when Ludlow Construction shows up and they're trying to decommission his geothermal that he paid a lot of money for,
Right.
Yeah.
which would be devastating to him. And I'm all for geothermal heating, it's awesome.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for sticking around. We have somebody else, as long as we're doing, come on up and have a seat.
Okay,
State your name and
I'm Orrin Cisco from 38 North Sullivan Road.
You know,
I came up and talked to you a little earlier, but.
Yeah. I was there today, I saw you.
Yeah,
Well, I
okay.
think I saw you, and someone on your property riding a four-wheeler.
Yeah, that was me.
I was with the town administrator.
Yeah, I saw some people over there, but you were too far away
Based
from.
based
my-
on your, he had issued a complaint about 508, about trash and stuff.
Where you saw me park was only a few feet away from whatever.
Through the chair, can, this is gonna be a different topic, so can, and I know you were asking it, because you were saying if it's on the same topic, but, are you talking for a water line, or are you talking for a different topic, like 508?
508.
Because
Can,
I have a couple of issues too.
yeah, can we,
so do you want to wait until afterwards?
I would like to, I think we should continue the discussion on H Foot Road,
Okay.
waterbed
Fine.
corner, if there is any, and then,
Come to me after.
yeah, yep,
Okay.
I'll just wait.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, So, we're done with H-Foot Road, Berry Corner Road, Elmore Lane. Jim's gonna send a letter about the road. Water line construction, I know we touched upon this, but while we're on it, anything new with Exxon Mobil? Anything else for any of the other water line construction?
I went to the meeting that you both attended, they broke off into little small groups, it was hard to ascertain what they were going, it was a lot of the same old, yeah, it's gonna be delayed, then they broke off into small groups, and I think that was a way of crowd control, to be honest.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah, I was very distressed because I think the people there wanted to generally ask questions.
and not repeat themselves. Kathleen actually came up to me afterwards and said, you know, this is something that, and I don't wanna put words in her mouth, but I said, bring this up at the next board meeting, because we're here for health issues. There are some folks there that are concerned about potential health issues related to Exxon, so.
well, I did have a meeting at the DP with ExxonMobil with Robin, it was a little more forceful and direct questions of like, what the heck's going on, and what's happening before this meeting.
Okay.
And they did try and explain that there's been delays with this and that, and excuses, but the DP's done with excuses. I'll probably say he wants to get moving on the project, but he knows that things take time. But they don't have to go through a bid process, they can hire anyone they want, you know? It's not like a municipality has restraints, so there are some other issues with moving Cemetery Road that I've shown, I've asked for that data for forensic environmental, and it would be going to the DEP and not us. There are issues there that are still on, and there's no plan of putting a water line, there are filtration systems there. And there was a problem with the church that was there, they said they may have contaminated. That tank, there's no proof of when that tank was removed. Usually when a tank's removed, it's approved by the fire department and spent to Mass Tank in Chicopee. I can't find any information, so that was one of my concerns, that's why they met. But certainly, you know, we're trying, they're ready to go, but it's just, they've ordered the pump station, they're actually meeting next week with Overlook for placement of the pump station there. A gentleman came in today and asked me if I would be attending the meeting, I said I was not invited to the meeting. It's an agreement between, you know, Overlook and ExxonMobil wants to put the pump station there. They want to be tied in first, because they're the big user.
Water Sewer Commission will have somebody there representing the town as well.
I'm sure that Pete Boyer or Steve Wanlin
Okay.
will be there, sure.
Yes, Kathleen?
I just, you know, at that meeting, because they didn't allow people to speak as a group, they said, okay, if you have this issue over here, this issue over here, this issue over here, so it felt like we were being manipulated. And then as people started standing around asking why they were doing this, I started hearing all these issues that I had never heard before of people who suffered with health issues. And I started getting concerned that the delay of this $40 billion company is not acceptable, because they should be able to do it much faster instead of pushing it off to, what is it now, 2021. And there were a number of people that were at the last meeting with ExxonMobil who said that they had been told that it could be done in 2019, or that's what they heard. ExxonMobil denied this. But I just felt that that if there was any possibility, we could have them come to this board and further explain in great detail why this delay needed to happen, why they couldn't put more money on it and make it happen faster. Because people are suffering in that.
Let's invite them.
Jim, I think we had a little discussion maybe at that meeting as far as that, or, I can't remember, I should talk to somebody. I'm sorry, but somebody said, I can't remember, if it was you or somebody else said, so-and-so from the DEP will come here at any time. If we invite them, they will attend and they will bring.
Well, I think they had that, ExxonMobil, we had that meeting with Robin and I went to the DEP with Mark Baldy, with the party to say, hey, what's going on? You know, and they explained why there's delays, and there's some of it is for good reason. No one is drinking contaminated water. They have filtration systems.
They washing it.
We've had a study done for the town of Charlton that it causes no ill effects. You can shower in it, you can do all that. And that was done by, and we had Dr. Mark Mascarella actually come before this board and give a statement to that effect. They do have bottled water. There's no excuse for them, I agree, to take this long, but the DEP has put the hammer down even stronger than the board would. They have more authority, and they're still not gonna be moving any faster than they are.
Yes.
Jim, you were at that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking if you agree with them or disagree with them, but at the time they was giving their excuses of why there was certain delays, did it seem like it made sense, or did it seem like they were just pulling a rabbit out of a hat?
Well, to be honest, some of it made sense, and some of it to me was, I felt was just excuses, because there are more things that are rearing their ugly head that are adding to that they have to do now, and so if they go too fast, I think they may have been slowed down, because they may want to change this plan of where this water line may go. I don't know, but they're not too open as far as letting us know. All I know is that there was delay with manufacturing of the pump stations. They changed their plan, because they don't need the pump station to power the line to get water to the people. They did it for the water for Berry Corner Road, Ellenroe Lane, and H-Foot Road, because they need the pump station. Without the pump station, there's no water to that area. So they changed it up. They had difficulty with the manufacturing. It's almost ready. Scott Wyborough, that I think at that meeting, said it should be ready soon. I forget the exact date, and they'll be working on that. I don't see any work being done at Stearns. I don't see anything going on there right now. But certainly, the DEP was satisfied with what they gave them as far as their excuses. But it doesn't mean that there aren't other issues, or we're happy. Robin wasn't happy with it. That's why she called for the meeting. You know, she wants to know, hey, what's going on here? You know, let's go. You know, we've got the other water line moving faster than this one. But you're right, Matt. There were excuses. Were they justified? They feel they are, and the DEP, Mark Baldy, felt that he would continue to put pressure to say, hey, let's get going. But they're having things made. Once those get made, the pump stations they need a pump station for Bay Path, need a pump station for Overlook, and need a pump station for the bottom of Berry Corner Road.
Yeah, you would just think though, the pump station is one piece of the pie. They've got miles
Oh, yeah.
of infrastructure to get in the ground.
They do. And they haven't even worked on the agreement yet, Matt.
That's what I'm saying, like
We worked hard to get the agreements just for, we have 82 properties, 80. They've got a lot more than that, but I did see Kleinfelder out testing on, they had their vehicles out on Bay Path Road. They had a crew out. So, but to answer your question and your question, we're trying. I mean, it's not like we've said, hey, it's okay.
I guess through the chair,
Yes.
I just wanna feel, in the end of it, that we sat here and we did everything we could possibly do to make it go faster. And that, because, I mean, some of the stories I heard that night really were upsetting, and people aren't convinced that you can wash with it to no real effect. And neither am I.
through the chair.
Yes.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. I think it works, the squeaky wheel, I think all that is, it works. I think having a discussion with somebody from DEP or somebody from Mobile Exxon, or quite frankly, anybody that has any power that can come in and listen to us, I think that's gonna give pressure, and it goes downhill, it flows. So all of a sudden now we start getting in the ear of DEP. Maybe DEP's gonna pick up the phone and continue the chain, and I think it all helps. I don't think it hurts.
So what are you suggesting? Get some representative here from ExxonMobil, DEP?
Yeah, somebody, like Kathleen was saying,
Yeah.
somebody to explain to us what is causing a delay, and some way we can express that, you know, there's a risk.
I think you can get the same explanation they gave at that meeting the other day and what they gave us at DEP.
That may be true, but like Matt's saying,
I don't think they're gonna, I mean, pressure's been put on, and the DEP's, Mark Baldy's putting big time pressure on them, and so is Mary Jude Pigsley, all the whole DEP. I can invite anyone you want here, they're gonna give you the same song they gave next door, and the same song they gave us at DEP.
Ultimately, the CEP is being satisfied.
Yep.
And so as long as that's happening, they've
And that's the
bought some
problem,
time.
you're right, and that's why bottom time, they weren't being addressed in the critical exposure pathways, and I know that you said that they're washing it, it's affecting them. I agree, I wouldn't wanna live there, but people actually are buying houses on these lines, cause they know they're getting water. So the property values are actually, people say, no, I wanna buy the house there. I said, you know there's contaminated water? I said, yes, but there's a water line going in there, so I wanna buy. And just like in your area, they're buying, the houses are going like that.
It's also happening on Gould Road. The landowners are selling, contamination's coming their way.
Gould Road,
The new buyers aren't aware of it.
one of the reasons that we had it was because Gould Cemetery Road concerns me, and I expressed my concerns to Robin, so she expressed them to Mark Baldy, and we had a meeting with them. So they drove up and they gave us the same thing they said the other night. It was this, and this, A, B, and C is delaying us, we had to do this, and this for you. So this set us back on engineering for this, and this, so the blame was put back on the town for asking them to do this first, when they really didn't need to. So, and that's what, but I can invite anyone you want, whether they show up or not, and that's up to the board. I don't know who you want me to invite from ExxonMobil. The boss is Scott Wyborough out of New York City. We have Laura Johnson from Kleinfelder, who really oversees the project.
Maura was the one that was mentioned. And
Yeah.
Was it you that told me that, or was it somebody else from DEP? Because I was talking to some of the DEP.
I think you asked Mark Baldy, and he said that he would come at any time.
Mara was there that.
And
Yes.
Mark,
And her
Laura was
name was,
there.
Yeah.
her name.
She was at one of the stations.
I think she was specifically named as somebody who could attend
Well,
these
she
meetings.
speaks on behalf, because she's the engineer on the project.
Right, but she's knowledgeable, certainly, she would.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And what's her, does she live somewhere in the area, or is it gonna be like a 2-hour drive for her?
She lives in Westboro. She was in Maine, they switched the offices, but I think that she's probably just as,
It's gonna have the
same
information.
thing that ExxonMobil was telling her, because she really is going as fast as ExxonMobil wants her to go, to be honest. I think if they told Kleinfeld, hey, we want to do this, they could get it done. But they don't even have agreements with any of the homes. You know how long it's gonna take?
I guess, to the chair,
Yes.
you know, if it were my project, and I did projects like this when I worked for the Postal Service, there is such a thing as multitasking. You can do other things at the same time you're doing other things, so, you know.
Oh, I agree. It's
So
just-
that it all comes together at the
It's-
end. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do one thing at a time, at a time, at a time. I mean, it's, from the company's perspective, it's probably more sensible, but certainly not from the people living there.
I
And so,
Agree, but I
so,
just don't know what.
and I saw, you know, I've known Mark Body for years, and I've been through this many times, way back when we first started with ExxonMobil in the mountains, you know, with the pipe. Mark is a great guy,
Is,
and, but there's only so much, there's only a limited amount that he can do. We ended up pulling in the senators and the state reps and everybody to put pressure on him. And it finally started to work. I don't see any harm in doing that kind of thing. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, at least we're doing something.
well, I do represent the board. I was at a meeting, just to update you. They were tough questions posed to them. What the heck is going on and why is it delayed? They came up with a big list of why, and Maura just sat there while Scott Wyborough and everyone else spoke, and Mark said after, I said, Robin asked him, hey, you know, what's going on, Mark? Remember, there are other issues in here. Goulden Cemetery Road is a big issue. And we need to get this resolved before they do all this water line and eliminate and not include Gould or Cemetery Road. But what are you gonna do with that? We're concerned with the other people. Yeah, they're gonna get water, but Gould and Cemetery Road right now are not getting anything but filtration systems.
And they're
So-
selling lots down there right now,
You're
like
right.
nobody's business.
And they're on filtration systems, they're on bottled water, and everything's been quiet secret about that. And I said, what the heck is going on? So I think that there are other things that need to be addressed. If they speed up the project and get out of here, they're done. That closes out. They're not responsible. This ends, this has an end thing. Once they put this water line and all that, they already closed their tracking number for CBS, that area, that's done, that's shut down. And once this is all done and they've abided by what that agreement was, they're not responsible after that. That's what concerns me.
It would start
That's what
over.
It would start over, and that's what concerns Robin as well. That's why we went to the DEP to say, hey, and I expressed to Robin, we need to do something about Gould Cemetery Road. She'd agreed, she made the appointment. We went to DEP and said, hey, and Mark said, you know, I don't think we can get a line over there. And I said, well, what are you gonna do? Continue to, you know, it's the same product that you're seeing on Old Worcester Road or any other roads is on Gould Cemetery Road. So, someone's gotta be responsible.
Is it MTBE?
It's MTBE, yeah.
And TAME, is that right?
Well, there's Tane.
Tame
Yeah. So, you know, we have to be concerned for everybody. And I will invite all of them, and I'm sure they'll send Maura Johnson over here, and then we can get Mark Baldy to come in, and you just let me know. I am concerned with other parts of town that aren't being addressed. Old Worcester Road, they're gonna get a water line, but these other parts that aren't included, once they go by there and close this off and they're done, what do you do then?
I thought there was some money set aside in escrow, no?
That was to pay, the money is, the 22 million is for the water line.
I thought there was like another 8 million or something.
6, but that had to go back to pay all the people who paid for, betterments.
So there's nothing left after that, so if this migrates another quarter mile, half mile.
Well, I don't know, I'm
south
not the
of-
keeper of the funds, I know they did appropriate some of the monies for some of the studies for the safety complex that was there, for groundwater study, but I don't know, I'm just, it's going slow, yes, it is going slow. Frustrated, I'm as frustrated as anybody else, but
So just, if I can clarify?
Yes.
Thank you. So you're saying that if we speed them up on Old Worcester Road, then,
we're not gonna speed them up, but
so
that's,
if we were to speed them up on Old Worcester Road, then that would leave Gould Road and Cemetery Road out in McCall because they wouldn't still be around? Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
There's a
absolutely.
third road as well.
What's the third road?
It's in that same area. I believe there's one more road.
Jones?
I think it's
I don't
Jones.
think it's
It's
Jones.
the, cuts off
What I'm
the road.
saying is, I've put it right on the table, Robin's put it on the table, the DEP's put it on the table. They don't seem to be too concerned at this point that they're moving slow. They feel it's the town that slowed them up with all these changes. It's like at the library, they broke solid board groups, no one knew what the questions were asked, so how do you not ask the same question, you know what I mean? These little station outbreak things were like, what is this? It was a way of controlling the crowd, I think, and keeping separate and divide and conquer, but I think this board, if you'd like to invite anyone, it's up to you guys. I will make calls to Maura Johnson and see who she can get here for our next meeting.
Can I just interject here for a minute? John Jordan's been wanting to say something for a little bit, and I want to give him a chance.
Is he waving his
before we
hand?
decide. Yeah, he's,
I agree 100% with what Mr. Philbrook said. They broke up into groups, many people had questions. I waited to ask a question. I couldn't because reporters took all the time. I saw myself and many people just leave. And I don't think the public was served by getting their questions answered the way they ran that meeting. And I think they should come back and answer questions for everyone. Hopefully you get everyone back there again to get their tell them it's to answer your questions and have the DEP there and everybody, make them responsible to answer the questions people have. I know I left. I couldn't get it. I just wanna ask, when are you gonna start the pump station? Still not started. They said in 3 weeks. I overheard him say that. Still hasn't started. So I know people have questions, and I don't think the town was served by that meeting.
So I thought, because we're the Board of Health, that exactly what this gentleman is saying, that we could have them sit here and answer all those questions, and have everybody aware of it, and people would come if they wanted to and ask questions, because they weren't allowed to. We were given a presentation, and then we're told to individually go to different places.
Myself, I don't see any harm in that at all.
I left early too. There was no, we were sitting there talking together, it was like,
Yeah.
So we could continue it on a health-related type.
I can invite them, it doesn't mean they'll show, he's out of New York City.
But
They have to
even
travel.
somebody with some knowledge about,
It would be more Johnson probably. Or Zinkovich, or someone from the DP should be here if the board wants. I think the DP as answer should be answering to this also. And invite Mark Baldy or Mary Jude Pixley or someone from that,
or somebody.
that the board would like to know. I know you had an open meeting, but it wasn't fair the way they broke it up. Explain to the board on the camera here why the delay is, so we as the board, or the protector of the residents, can explain, because we don't even know,
Exactly, yeah.
and give a better explanation, rather than break up these little groups. You can't record 4 separate areas, where now if you have them before the board,
They're sitting there and you're.
it's on there,
Yeah.
and you can.
So it sounds like we've got potentially a motion, if you're ready to.
Yeah, right, so,
Entertain a motion.
so I would make a motion that Exxon will be invited with whoever they can, provide to answer all the questions that we're not able, they weren't